So, you want to design and make your own cutters. In this video, I'm going to show you how I think when I design any cutter in Fusion 360. Once you understand this way of thinking, you'll be able to design any shape you want for clay, cookies, polymer, whatever you're working with. Honestly, this might be the only video you need to watch to understand cutter design forever. So let's build one together. Not a specific cutter, but a system. Now, when you break down a cutter, no matter the size or shape, every cutter is built from the same 4 parts. Once you understand these 4 parts, the design becomes very simple, and the shape almost doesn't matter anymore. These 4 parts are the shape, the cutting edge, the reinforcement wall, and the grip. Everything we do in Fusion 360 is building and controlling these 4 things. Now here we are in Fusion 360 and I want you to just focus on these 2 functions. So we're looking at create a sketch, which is going to build our shape and all of the other parts. And we're going to play with the button extrude, which is going to extrude the shapes that we want to create the cutter with. So let's start with a sketch. The simplest way, you click the sketch, and I would always click here on the top to make sure I design my cutter on the top view of the sketch. So from here, if I click this, I will get a few options up here. The only realistic options are these ones from here to here. So we're looking at line, 2-point rectangular, circle, fit, point spline, mirror, and maybe trim and offset. These are kind of the few buttons we need to design pretty much any shape we want. So let's start with the first part, which is the shape. Now the shape can be as simple as a circle. This is a shape. Or it can be square of whatever size you want. Or it can be a line that goes from here to here to here to here. That's a shape. Okay, so let's start with a circle, and then we create the shape of a circle. Let's say 40 mil, and then we need to create the cutting edge, and we do that by offsetting the shape we have already. So we will offset this by 0.42 millimeters. The reason I'm doing that 0.42 is because my nozzle diameter on my 3D printer is 0.4 and the default setting in my 3D printer slicer is 0.2. So I'm always going with 0.2. Okay? Now that is already my cutting edge. We do need to give it another reinforcement wall to make it a bit stiffer. So we'll do that again. We'll offset again. We'll choose the shape we originally did, and we're gonna offset it by twice 0.42. So that will be 0.84. Okay, so that will give us the reinforcement wall. And we need to do the 4th thing we need to do is the grip, the place where you grip and hold the cutter. And we'll do that by offsetting again the same shape, the first one we did, and we're gonna say offset it by 3 millimeters. Okay, now if we finish this sketch and we go here on the home button and we look at it, we have 4 lines. The first line is going to be our cutting edge. So if we zoom in with our mouse scroll, we can go and select that one. and we're going to use the button extrude, or we can, if you look here, we can use the button E. I prefer to use button E on my computer because it makes things a bit faster. So I'm gonna say E for extrude, and I'm gonna go with 19 millimeters. Okay, this thing seems a lot. 19 millimeters seems very high. The reason I'm going with 19 millimeters is because I know some of you girls and maybe guys, they have long nails, and this 19 millimeters, it gives you the perfect grip to cut into clay without worrying about your nails touching things. So I'm gonna go with 19 millimeters. That's, for me, it works best. If you wanna do less, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go 90 millimeters. The next one, so now if I do that, you see the sketch disappeared. So I can go here on the sketches and click this I button, and it's gonna show me the sketch again. So let's extrude the reinforcement wall as well. So we're gonna click the reinforcement wall, and we're gonna hit E on our keyboard and extrude this by 16 millimeters. Now, why 16 millimeters and not 18, not 17, not 15? 16 millimeters gives you this 3 mil cutting edge that is ideal for polymer clay cutters. So if you're making earrings or if you're making jewelry, usually when you run your polymer clay through the pasta machine, it will give you the thickest option. It will be around 2.2, 2.4 millimeters. That will give you the perfect size for cutting polymer clay. Okay, so now let's do the same thing with the grip. We click the grip and we're gonna hit E on our keyboard and extrude by 3 millimeters. If you want to make this bigger, thicker, do whatever you want. So that's my first basic clay cutter as a circle, and you can do the exact same process for a square. There we go, we have a square. As I said, it's the same principle with a circle and a square and any other shape. So if you want to, let's say you want to create a more complex shape, the steps are exactly the same, but in the sketch, instead of using the circle or the square, we can use a combination of both. Now, if we, let's say we want to do a weird shape, I would start by creating a line that is going to give me the height of the final piece which I want to design. So let's say my final piece is going to be 50 mil high. Okay, that will give me the exact 50 mil. So when I start to create a weird shape, and you'll see what I mean by weird shape in a minute. If I want to create a weird shape, I want to make sure in this case that both sides are going to be symmetric. So this line will give me the height, will also give me the symmetry. So in this case, I'm going to take this line, which is a feed point spline, and I'll show you how this works. This is really good tool to use in your design. So you start by setting the first point, and then you go to wherever you want the middle of that section to be, and then you go to the next one, 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 and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter the shape, you just make a shape. And then every point of this, every single point you created has two options. So it has this bar that if you grab the entire bar, so if you lose it, you just click the point, and then you can grab the entire bar, move it up and down, or you can grab one of these points like this, and then if you just twist it, it will twist the shape, and if you drag it, it will drag the shape. So you can just play around with this till you get the shape that you want and make it however you want. Okay, and then just play with it. Get it to the shape you want. Oh no, let's say this. And this will do that. Okay, but this is a very weird shape. It doesn't matter. I'm just playing with it. So now I have this. This is only half of the whole picture. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this line and just say mirror it. If I click this button, it'll ask me which object, which is the line which I already selected, and then it's gonna ask me the mirror line. So I'm gonna select this and hit this one. That will give me this entire shape as a perfect symmetric mirror thing. Okay, so now I do exactly the same thing like I did before. I select everything and I'm gonna offset it by 0.42. Oh, in this case I have to go minus 0.42 because you see it just pushed it back in. This arrow shows you which way it's going. So if I double click, I just simply have to double click this and just say minus 0.42. Okay, that goes up. And then if I double click this again and double click this, so I have the whole line selected, and I'm gonna extrude again. So see now it shows me it's gonna extrude it that way, this arrow. So I can say 0.84. Okay, that will give me the reinforcement wall. And then if I click that again and that again, I can just say, not extrude, sorry. Oh. I can just say offset again. And I'm gonna say, again, it shows me that way. So in that case, I have to do minus 3. Oh, cancel that. Let's do it again. Okay, so it's gonna go offset by minus 3 millimeters. Okay, now if I finish the sketch, I'll have the same thing again. I'll have the cutting edge extrude by 19 millimeters. The whole thing is gonna disappear again. So let's make it visible. I'm gonna go extrude by 16. And I'm gonna say to this one, extrude by 3. Okay, so that's your strange, I don't know, cutter, whatever you want to use as a shape. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's start from scratch. So we're gonna create a new sketch, and let's say we want to make the cutter a cutter that has something inside. So in this case, I'm gonna show you very quickly. I'm gonna create a smiley face. So I'm gonna create a circle that's, I don't know, 50 mil. Okay, so inside this circle I want to make some I want to make a symmetry line that's gonna help me like that. And then what I want to do is I want to create some eyes. Okay, and I'm gonna mirror that eye to in this perfect in the perfect location. So I'm gonna select this circle. I'm gonna say mirror line. I'm gonna give me exactly on the other side. And I want to create a mouth. So the way I do that is I'm gonna create this and that and that. Oops. I'm gonna start from here, go here, and then go there. Okay. I'm gonna take this line and offset it by, let's say, 0.95. That should be right. And then on this side, I want to take another line, take it from here, go there, and go there. And then take this and mirror it onto, oh, mirror it and select this. Okay, like this, and then mirror it onto this line. Okay, so that will give me the mouth, the eyes, and the face. So we have a smiley face here. We want to do the same thing. We want to offset this by 0.42, and then we're going to offset it again by 0.84, and we're going to offset it again by 3 millimeters. Okay, so now if we extrude everything, what we want to do, extrude this by 19. We're going to extrude this by 16. I'm going to extrude this by 3. Oh, 3. Okay. So now if we want to emboss these eyes and mouth onto our design, we need to think about how thick is your clay or whatever you're working with, and subtract from that 2 millimeters, because 2 millimeters is something that you would normally see perfectly on a slab of clay, right? So let's say our face is 19, so we're going to extrude all of these to 17. We're going to go extrude 17. Okay, now there you go, you have your cutter ready. But the only problem is these are going to be printed in, they're not connected to anything. So we want to do that, connect all of these to the cutter itself. So we go back to the sketch, and I would simply do line from, let's say from this line to this, and then I'll do another one from this to the other side. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing for the mouth, like that. And then if we finish sketch, we can just simply take these two and then extrude them by 3 millimeters. Okay, so that will give us all of these things connected to the circle. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about designing clay cutters. So if you want to design a simple one, you can just use the sketch, and just remember to put it on the top plane, and then you only need to use the lines, the square, the circle, and the feed point spline, and maybe mirror and offset, and that's pretty much it. And after that, you only need to extrude, so it's really easy to make it. And then with this technique, with this idea, you can just make any cutter you want. So that's how I think about designing cutters in Fusion 360. Like I said, it's not about copying shapes and copying clicks that people do. It's about understanding the system behind them. So once you understand this shape, the cutting edge, the reinforcement wall, and the grip, you can pretty much design any cutter you can imagine. If this video helped you, let me know in the comments, and tell me what you want to see designed next. Give us a like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.